I roll my celery and use my specialist skill to accelerate healing before presencing the get of Fenris Lupin in front of me. What does that... Oh! Hi there. Didn't see you. Welcome to today's episode of My Mum Said I Could Watch It. I've gone with the moody lighting for a number of reasons, because this time I'm going to talk about Vamp. Couple of things. Technically speaking, this wasn't a video rental. This came to me via Movie Drome. So, film made in 1986. I looked that up first. So, I would again have been 10. Latter 90s Movie Drome, I believe. My main memory of this is first year, so this is 94, of university, Freshers Week, student halls, all male halls. It kind of was. Vampire, as I was just showing in front of us, and Alex Cox. Yeah, that's because the internet didn't exist back then. So, watching the Movie Drome from then, just now, I just realised how we like to think of Alex Cox as having some control, and often he did say the movie wasn't good, but really, he says some very bad things about this. He says that the acting is rubbish, but at least there's a nice chair from Alex Warhol. And I'm like, fuck you, Alex Cox. This is a really good film. This isn't dated at all, except for, okay, yes, it is a strip bar. I did go to a strip bar in the 90s with a bunch of other students, not in that first week, but basically because there was some part of me in the back of my mind that said, I need to go to a strip bar so that when I'm old, I can say I went to a strip bar. I've never been asked. I've never been asked if I've been to a strip bar in a casual conversation. I end up throwing it into conversation, probably in my 30s, to try and show some machismo, and always just had this look from people. So, Vamp, starring Grace Jones, really does hit most of the buttons of what it does. And in a world of expanded universes and intricacies, the thing that I took from watching it again is, I know it sounds weird, but maybe it's because I'm in my 40s now, infrastructure. That's right, vampiric infrastructure was what brought me back into this film. The premise is simple enough. Two guys who, fortunately, they are not that obvious alpha beta males. They are very much the dynamic from American Werewolf in London. One is a bit more jock. AJ, Keith, does think on his feet a lot as well. But they're guys who do use their initiative. There's a lot of scenes where they're totally outclassed, but by pure wit, they get around the situations. You follow them, and Duncan, who could have been his own film, and again, it's something that I only realised in later life. I think would have sort of skipped me by if I had seen this in the 10. It is a stereotype. It's Crazy Rich Asian, but he's played with such charm and such energy and such charisma that you go, you know what, this guy is genuinely lonely, and there's no reason why people wouldn't really hang out with him. It could have been played. I'm glad it wasn't. But it's often a role played by like Eddie Dezzine in these kind of movies. So you have that, and he's just left. He's pretty much like the chauffeur in Die Hard. He's just left in the corner because he has the car, but in this case, he's just left in Vampland. However, while largely AJ is out there, Keith picks fights himself. Billy Drago, I'm going to throw that name in there because it's one of those ones where you see people and you go, I know you from the thing, I know you from that thing, I know you from that thing, what are you from? But the bit that really brought me in is, as well, while you're watching this mystery of Keith trying to find AJ after AJ's been right? Every aspect of it works, and it's all show, not tell. There are no mirrors in the strippers' dressing rooms. They do each other's makeup. It's mentioned that there's no reflection, but you know, you look at a typical underworld film, there is so much exposition. Here they go, the goddamn vampires. You know what a vampire is. There's no need for us to bother. You get to understand what a ghoul is. Blood bonding is there. They feed on the blood of a vampire directly, and that's how come they get to live. But it's all show, not tell. Vegas Baby, Couch Guy, and a Tour Heavy, filling in archetypes we already know, so that you can get on with the story. The main mystery being there's a blonde woman who knows Keith in the place. It's totally understandable that he's in a strip bar, and yet he pretends that he doesn't know her at all. Like, there's nothing awkward about the fact that he knows a young woman, college girl, who works in a strip bar, and she knows who he is, and he has a reputation already of being in a strip bar. Charlie Bond is banned from the comments. So, with that dynamic, you still see it's not just the strip bar. The stripping is very minimal. The blood is there, but it's also just very use-sparingly, and as such has much more massive impact. It is about an entire community. The hotel is in on it. The garbage guys are in on it. The local streets are in on it. The only people who aren't in on it is the local bang-banging gang run by albinos. In fact, one of the people there, the whole thing is, and they do this really well, are they vampires or aren't they? So you have immediately, as AJ and Keith go into a diner that's run by a priest who wants to shut up the place, you have that near-dark moment, because they're just the fucking near-dark vamps. But it turns out they're not vampires. A lot of plays with the waitress, where you see a reflection, but she doesn't have a reflection. But it's it's a security mirror. Of course, you wouldn't see a reflection. And so it's all at an angle. But it is all done on screen, and I think that Alex Cox talking about chairs and Grace Jones being in the next Batman is kind of nice and whimsical, but I do not think he gives credit at all to this film. And you know what? It fits in an entire mythos. You understand, buy her a dance. Grace Jones is Vamp, Katrina is a woman of the world. Elements of Mikado, Kabuki. I'm having trouble connecting to this as well. Yeah. Egyptology, the sarcophaguses where the coffins are held. All of it is on screen. All of it is exposition nil. Explanation necessary. Environment totally gives you everything you need. The lighting is amazing in terms of just... I know it seems weird that they've gone for this purple green colour palette Joker thing, but the fact is they commit throughout the whole film. Now that lighting is one of the big things of a film. I try and watch these more recent stuff, and it's just like grim grey. This has gone for the neon. Alex is right in the fact that it is the straight. This is what Bordello of Blood really aspired to be. And his review applied to Bordello of Blood. It did not apply to this film. Alex Cox made Repo Man, which I'm sure I'm going to cover at some point in this. But I would say totally Vampire the Masquerade fans, it's all in there. I think of my time, really one night, visiting us, Bottoms Up in Edinburgh was the main one. There are no strippers in a strip bar. Right? The main memory I genuinely have of a strip bar was that the beer was really cheap. And it was in Edinburgh. I was in a Pink Triangle. And I'm not. There's a guy that, yeah. Right? But the main thing about Bottoms Up was it's all lap dances. So somehow I feel that makes me feel better. Particularly when a guy said, "Oh, Rob, you haven't had a lap dance. Do you think you're too good for this place?" And he said it like he's feeling bad for having spent 60 quid. And I was going like, if there's one thing worse than being in a strip bar when you're a grown man, it's being in a strip bar and broke. So, at 90 minutes, a little more than that, watching this with the guys in Greenstead House, yeah, we all totally got entertained. We probably made some comments about there not being enough nudity, ha-ho. but watching it again now totally holds the bar. The acting is good. When AJ actually becomes a vampire, the standoff between him and Keith, the absolute bromance, is electric on the screen. You totally get that, and the pathos of it, and the tragedy of what he's become, as well as how that plays out at the end. Maybe he will have a Dead Heat crossover. Who knows? Grace Jones. Grace Jones. It's the one element where you go, wouldn't your spider sense tingle? All the other things that you know you shouldn't do, even as a young man. Strip bar, on your own, be left alone. It's like, if Grace Jones turned around at me and said, I'm going to have you, I would probably just absolutely happy, scrappy hero pup, scrappy do go, so, totally works because it's Grace Jones. Enough layers, and there aren't jokes, but it has got so much humour purely through the chemistry. Totally worth a rewatch. Totally worth getting back to. It's not hard to find. It's on Amazon Prime. And until next time, don't tell Mum I watched it.